Hello, hello, hello. My name is Deanna, and this is the Journey to CPA podcast. Welcome. It's nice to see you here. This is a brand new podcast. We've never filmed an episode a day in my life, okay? And so the purpose of this podcast is to provide content, helpful content and information, whether it's teaching, whether it's helpful tips, whatever y'all need to navigate your journey to becoming a CPA if interested. Not only will I be breaking down, helpful things to help you navigate your journey as a CPA, whether it's career paths, whether it's building your own CPA boutique firm, whatever that may be. If it's even that you're trying to evaluate if this is what you really want to do, and if you really gonna take that time to get them 150 credit hours and take that test, like before you do all that, this is your first stop to figure out if the journey is even worth it. And so I am your podcast host. I'm going to be coming to you today. We are going to start off with just basically talking about my journey so that y'all can get to know me a little bit, to get some comfort around whether you want to invest your time with your girl or not. Okay. All right. For some of y'all, I might be a little too urban, and that's okay. That's okay. Right. But I want to assure you that the places in which I have worked have not been urban. Okay. All right. I have been the token for plenties of firms. I've worked for the Big Four, okay? I've been a consultant at the Big Four, okay? All right. I am currently working at a Fortune 500. I have I've built my own firm. I've done that thing. I've been a CFO of a multi-million-dollar hair care brand. I've done a lot of things in this profession here. So I think I have some valuable information that I want to share with you guys. So if you are ready, let's get started. Okay. First, y'all, I have to drink my diet root beer. It's getting my life. It may not be the healthiest thing for me, but it's getting my life. So every now and then I'm going to stop to sip a little thing, okay? But like I mentioned, today, this is just the foundation background podcast. I'm giving y'all all the tea that y'all need to know about me. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what prompted me to even start this podcast to begin with. And I'm going to be giving you some expectations as to what you can expect in the next future episodes. I'm hoping to not make these super long because I am busy, okay? I got document requests that need to go out for the SOX texting. So, we're going to talk about that too. All of the things, okay? Like, even if y'all have technical questions for me that y'all want me to break down, like things that you're having a hard time understanding or concepts you're having a hard time grasping, whether it's be for passing the CPA exam, whether it be for taxes, whatever it may be. I've done almost all of the things. And so the whole CPA exam, all four parts of that thing, I've did something in all of them, okay? So just know this is your one-stop shop for all of that, okay? And if you are listening to this podcast on Apple or Spotify, please review it, share it with some people that you know wants to be in this field, okay? Share the love, all right? Because I believe more people need to hear this because we need more CPAs. We desperately need more accountants in this industry. And I'm going to be breaking down exactly why. And there's a lot of money to be made if you want to make it. So, share the love. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you need to do on YouTube to get this out to the masses. Because like I said, we want to share the love, okay? All right. Now, let's get into the meat of what we are here to talk about. First, who am I? Deanna Brooks, okay? I am a licensed CPA in the state of Illinois, okay? I'm going to transfer that thing down here to Texas, or, have both licenses in both states if I can. How are we going to work that down? But for right now, we are a licensed CPA in the state of Illinois. And I have been licensed since 2015. I went to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Okay, go Illini, woo woo. Okay, that school was ranked number 2 in the nation for its accountancy program at that time. Not sure about today, but at that time, it was ranked number 1. Okay, well, number 2. Okay, behind Texas, them peoples. But it's cool. We here now. We're here in Texas now. So, I'm gonna let y'all live. Okay. But yes, so went to U of I, Urbana-Champaign, undergrad, did the master's there. Listen, that's gonna need a whole nother story time on its own, because the master's program wasn't cheap, okay? And there was this scholarship for the diverse peoples in the program that was available to people who did not have the funds to be able to afford it. I just knew I was going to get that scholarship because it was only about like 2 of us in that program, right? When I tell you, when I heard that I did not get that scholarship, listen, waterworks. Do you hear me? I had to make a decision. I almost didn't do this thing, but to God be the glory. I decided to do the thing anyways. I'm still paying off them student loans, but that's neither here nor there. That's for another podcast. But for this one, let's stay focused. Went to that school. They were heavily recruiting for Big Four, right? If you are not familiar with the Big Four is or are whatever, the Big Four are the top 4 accounting firms in the world, not just in the US. I'm talking about the world, okay? And they're the top 4 by how revenue, I believe, by how much revenue they make worldwide. And it used to be the Big 8. That thing got chomped down to the Big 5, and then Enron happened. And listen, if you haven't learned already about that situation, you gonna learn, and we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna pull up, and we're gonna talk about all of that stuff, because when I tell you the things and the happenings of Enron, don't think it's a thing of the past. Okay, be very cognizant that there are some ethical avenues that you're going to regularly have to navigate, even after you get certified as a public accountant and you start doing all your big CPA stuff. Just know, listen, I'm a devout Christian over here. I also have a podcast called Christ-Centered CPA. Okay, so listen, I got to check in with Jesus every now and again before I even show up, before I walk into the doors. Okay, so just know that that's a thing. Okay, but anyways, started at KPMG, which was number 4 of the Big Four. Okay, and if you want to know what the Big Four names are, it's Deloitte, PwC, Ernst & Young, and KPMG. Okay, so I started in KPMG. I started in deal advisory, aka it used to be transactions and restructuring, aka mergers and acquisitions. Okay, so if any of you guys follow Alex Hormozy or any of the peoples on the social medias talking about buying companies and selling companies and all that stuff, that's what think about. So when a transaction is happening, right? When the 2 parties, right, the buyer and the seller, are trying to come up with an agreed upon price, there are different methods of coming up with that price. But a part of what goes into that price is the qualified earnings, right? So long story short, you're going to learn all this stuff eventually, okay? And if you got questions on it, let me know and I'll break it down. But this ain't the podcast for that. But long story short, what we came in and did, in financial due diligence, that's what the department that I started off in. It started off in accounting advisory services, did a rotation into financial due diligence, did another rotation into lender due diligence. We can break down all three of those different areas on a different podcast. But long story short, the biggest thing that we did as a deal advisory practice was to go in, value these companies by literally looking at all the stuff that we can expect to keep recurring year after year after year. So we would take out any special things that happen. Like if, let's say you are a furniture store, right? And let's say you sold a building, right? But you're not in the business of selling a building, but you had gains and losses from the sale of that building. We're going to come in and we're going to take out all those like abnormal things that the buyer can expect not to see year after year after year. They want to just see what they can expect that's operating. And we just basically kind of smooth it out for all that extra stuff and come to a hardcore number that says, hey, this is the amount of profit they are doing operationally, absent of all the special stuff. Like if you went viral one day and then it spiked your, revenue all of a sudden, we're taking that out because we can't count on virality. Okay. So that is kind of essentially what we did. So I did that for like 2 years, right? Then I said, you know what? It's a lot going on here. Let's move around, because I also realized early on in my career that it was a very specialized niched role, that if I did not want to do that for the entirety of my career, let's say I make it all the way to manager or senior manager, and then I try to pivot, I'm gonna be stuck, because then I'm gonna have to start all over since I'm dealing with such a niche field, And so that was like, I was like, okay, because I was looking at the partners and the directors, and I was just like, do I want their life? I don't know. And we could talk about that in another podcast as well. But for me, I was just like, no, I don't know. So I had to move it around. That's when I went into internal audit at United Airlines. If you are not familiar with what internal audit is, that is where you are looking at the internal controls and processes. Long story short, all the things that are set in place to avoid errors and misstatements and fraud from occurring in the company. That's what internal auditors kind of check to make sure is operating correctly. One of the podcasts that I'm going to do, I'm going to break down a good portion of the different career fields that you can go into as an accountant. I'm not going to say all, because listen, you could do anything. Accounting is one of those flexible careers where you could do almost anything. Okay. People will hire an accountant for specialized roles. You could be a project manager as an accountant, so I don't want to niche it down in that way. However, the big main categories for what you can do as an accountant or a CPA, I'm going to do another podcast explaining all of those. So if you have further questions about any of the roles that I've talked about in this particular podcast, feel free to ask me about it, because I'm going to be going into detail in further podcasts. But anyways, back to the story at hand. Okay. So internal audit, I came in and we do financial and operational audits for the most part. You have IT audits as well. That's a whole nother kind of ball game. But in financial audits, a lot of what you're doing is SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley, which came as a result of the whole Enron fiasco debacle, right, that we alluded to earlier on the podcast. And essentially, the whole purpose of it was to say, hey, y'all need to assess y'all internal controls to prevent fraud and misstatements. Meaning, do you have processes in place to prevent people from fraudulating? Okay. Yes, I made up a whole word, fraudulating, because that's what I do. Okay. And essentially, for example, and then an example of an internal control would be segregation of duties. For example, if I am the accountant and I come in and I'm doing the financial statements, like I'm putting it together, I'm booking entries, and also I'm handling money, what's stopping me from collecting $100 from our customer, putting it into my pocket, going into the books and saying we ain't never get nothing from that client, just erasing it all together, you know what I mean? And then going about my merry way. CEO don't know nothing because they not in the books. They not checking the bank. They not following up on nothing. Me as the accountant, I'm just living my merry life, right? What's stopping me from doing that? Nothing. Okay? So segregation of duties is a control that says, hey, the person who is doing recording on the financial statements cannot also handle cash, cannot also handle customer like receipts. Like you can't collect money from customers and do stuff in the books, right? That's a segregation of duty to prevent from somebody from being able to do that. And so as an internal auditor, you're coming in and saying, okay, for one, is that process in place where you have two different people, that one person handling the money, one person handling the books? Like, do you already, like, is that already a thing? And then two, is it working in practice? Like, do you have this process set up, but in practice, it's really one person handling all of this, or you're not checking up to make sure that this person doesn't have the access to take money from the customers and do the books too, right? And so we're essentially coming in and evaluating the design and effectiveness of that internal control. And so that's what internal controls, that's what you're doing as an internal auditor. And this can be financial in nature or operational in nature. For example, some of the operational audits that I would do is that I would go out on the tarmac and check if they were hooking these aircraft up to our external air conditioning units when they were parked in between people coming on and off the plane. Because if the engines were burning gas, it was costing too much in the middle of the heat of the summer. You know what I mean? Cost and waste, fuel prices be too much. You feel me? And so they were like, listen, make sure that we hooking these things up so that we could save on these costs, so that we're not burning the fuel of the plane while it's just sitting for people to come on and off the plane. That's why sometimes in the summer when you come on the plane, it might be a little hot when you first get on, and then when you get in the air, it's all frigid, like, Arctic snowball. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why, because they're trying to save coins. Okay, so that's something I would do as an internal auditor too. I would also audit station operations, making sure that the stations are doing what they need to do and not, fraudulating behind the things as well. I've had some interesting stories come from that. I don't know if I can legally share, but maybe, who knows? Just stay tuned, because it was some stuff, honey. Lord have mercy. Anyway, but so that was that, right? Around 2017, my dad got diagnosed with cancer during this time. And it was a rough time for me and my family. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I was also trying to get promoted during this period of time. And so I was trying to do all these backflips, but, trying to navigate all the family stuff of like dealing with my dad having cancer. And one of my friends, or my best friend, she was getting married at the time. So I was one of her bridesmaids, and I was like trying to help her with her wedding. And it was just a lot going on during this time period. And he ended up passing away. And I didn't really take that much time off. I kind of just was like, let's get into it. I'm trying to get promoted, but at the same time, I'm trying to help my friend with her wedding. At the same time, I'm trying to get my finances together. It was just a lot of stuff going on at the same time. And I ended up like breaking down. Like, I was so unfulfilled. I was so sad. I was so unsure of myself because I did not have the confidence back then that I have now, right? Where to be and show up as Deanna Tiffany Brooks, right? I didn't have that confidence. I had the whole, code switching. Hi, yeah, I love, yeah, that Deanna, right? That's how it was showing up. And I didn't want to switch up my hair too much because they told me as a Black woman, you don't want to switch up your hair and be known for your hair. Like, I didn't have my nose ring because I wanted to be me. Okay. The person that y'all see interacting with y'all today, that's who I wanted to be in these settings. And I felt drained of my personality. I felt drained of my purpose, because what brought me into accounting to begin with, which is a whole nother podcast in and of itself, was something very purpose driven. And then once I got to where I said I was going to be, 10 years later, I'm feeling like, is this it? Like, this can't be it. And then the thing about when you lose a loved one, watching my dad's casket go into the ground, I started to recognize, like, nobody cares that he worked at this Jamaican restaurant and made jerk chicken anymore. Like, that's not relevant to any of our lives because we can't eat it no more. Literally, you know what I mean? Like, that's not relevant. Nobody cares if he went on to be the president of the United States, or whatever the case may be. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? But at this point, him being lowered into that ground, I was like, one day that's going to be me. And if I just make my career about becoming a VP at a Fortune 500, who does that impact? If I don't want it, what am I doing it for? So that my mom, because my dad's gone at this point, so that my mom can have bragging rights and say, oh, my daughter's a VP at this Fortune 500? No, who cares at that point? And then I realized life is too short to be living for other people. And so for me, I said, at that point, nope. Something got to change. And so one day, I started getting so sad. People just started noticing. They were just like, are you happy at the job? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy. The whole time, I'm like, tears flowing down my face while I'm saying I'm happy, And so at that point, I said, God, what you want me to do? Because I can't do this no more. And I was living in Chicago at the time because I'm from Chicago. Shout out to Chi-Town. Okay. And it was at this point that I had a revelation that I did not want to be an accountant anymore. I did not want to be an accountant. I wanted to go do hair. Yes. I wanted to go become a hairstylist, do hair, move to Texas, move to Houston. So that's what I went on a journey to do. So I said, forget all of this. I'm about to leave. I'm about to sell because I had a house at that point. I'm about to sell my house. I'm going cross country. Screw all this accounting stuff. Y'all can miss me with it. Because I wanted freedom. I wanted freedom to dictate how I show up to the world and move how I want to. And I felt like I was closed into a box in a corporate setting where it's like everybody just trying to people please, climb the ladder, play politics. I can't politics to save my life, okay? And so clearly I was losing it, trying to politic, doing something that I wasn't even supposed to be doing. I felt like I was out of integrity with the calling that God had on my life. And so essentially I said, you know what, we moving. One of my friends, she had a hair company at that time. Now the hair company was blowing up. I said, hey girl, while I'm about to move to Houston, okay, because trying to sell my house at this firm, at this company where, it's a little hectic. It's a little hard because people are coming in the middle of the day. This was way before all this work from home stuff was happening, right? This was back in like 2018, right? And so, well, a little bit before, we're going to get there. Anyway, so long story short, I said, listen, I can't fake the funk with these people no more. I'm gonna have to let them know I'm leaving and I need a job to sustain me in the meantime while I'm trying to sell my house to move to Houston. So I said, hey, can I ship some can I come in? Let me pack some hair products. Let me ship some stuff. I'll do that. I have no listen, ain't no job beneath me. And she said, yes, girl, we need the help. Come on. I said, say less. I come in there, I'm shipping, I'm packing boxes. Hey, listening to my stuff while I'm packing boxes. Woo, Next thing you know, she needs help with the books. And I'm just like, I ain't never did bookkeeping because although I'm a CPA, they didn't teach me bookkeeping at the University of Illinois. Okay, so that's a hint for anybody trying to become a CPA. That don't mean that you're gonna learn bookkeeping. Okay, I had to self-teach it. So I got into this stuff, got into QuickBooks, self-taught myself all of that type of stuff, right? And it was madness. When I tell you it was madness, it was madness. All right. So I'm over here fixing stuff up, so that they could get whatever they need. They appear on Shark Tank. Stuff blows up, right? Now I'm managing the shipping department because I'm just like, listen, it's a whole bunch of stuff happening. My internal control brain is kicking in. I'm like, we need controls, we need processes for this. This person needs to be talking to this person. Let's get it together. And so her business advisor comes in and he stops me, and I'm just like, we on a backlog because we just aired on Shark Tank. Things are crazy. All right. And I'm trying to get caught up on orders. Right. And so he comes in, he says, hey, can we go to coffee? And I said, all right. I mean, I'm trying to get out the orders as fast as I can. I'm sorry. He's just like, it's okay. Just, can we have some coffee? I'm just like, okay. So we go to get coffee and we sitting down. I'm just like, listen, sir, I don't want to lose my job. I'm doing the things the best I can. And he said, yeah. Can you be the CFO? And I said, huh? Oh, I said, who? What? He said, they need somebody to run the finances. Can you be the CFO? And I said, you know what? I think about this. All right. However, what y'all need to know is that this is not like, because at first the idea was pitched to me a little bit earlier in the day, but I was just like, huh? What? But it was pitched to me as a part-time situation. I was like, what y'all need to understand is this is no part-time situation. There is no such thing. Like, no, this is a full-time thing. And I'm moving to Houston. I'm going to hair school. I'm going to cosmetology. All the stuff I set my mind to, we're doing that. So this ain't gonna be in lieu of, is it temporary? Like, let's be clear. Like, do y'all just want me transition? What you want? Okay. And so we came to an agreement, and from there, I became a CFO, the first CFO to ever face that company. And so I had to actually, I started off head of finance, then transition, CFO, all that good stuff, right? So basically, I had to establish all of these processes from jump, okay? Because there was no processes, okay? So I had to learn all of the things that comes with being a CFO for a multi-million-dollar hair care brand fairly quickly. And I kept looking for mentors. Like, every day I was on a search, like, somebody mentor me, somebody teach me, right? And so all these people were being referred to me as the experts in this industry. And so I would talk to them about stuff, and whole time they had no clue. Like, I was helping them. And I'm just sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. Nobody know what they doing. I mean, you've been a financial expert for 50 plus years, right? And you can't tell me what, like. And then I would try to get people to help with the books, and then they would come in and they would mess it up more. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And that's when I learned there are so many people in this industry that are faking the funk. And so when you start in this industry, you're going to deal with a lot of imposter syndrome because you're going to feel like, oh, I'm so inexperienced and I don't know what I'm doing. And that is true. You're not going to know what you're doing. Okay. And that is fine. I want you to recognize you are not the only one. There are people doing this 10, 15 plus years who still don't know what they're doing. There are people who have been running accounting businesses, bookkeeping, taxes for 20 plus years who call me for advice. Okay. And I ain't been doing this 20 years. Okay. Because you see the skin, I'm not that old, y'all. Okay. I'm getting up there, but we're not there yet. But so I'm here to tell y'all, right? Do not be intimidated by your lack of experience, and do not fake the funk in this industry. There are too many people faking the funk. There are too many people scamming people. There are too many people messing up people's financials, all for the sake of putting on a show that they are some sort of expert. I am quick to let you know I do not know the answer to that. I will research it and get back to you. And if I'm not the person to research, if you don't feel comfortable, I will find you the expert. Okay. I'm quick to be like, I don't know that. Because it's impossible to know everything in this industry. Y'all already seen, I've done been an M&A consultant. I've done been an internal auditor. I've done been a CFO so far. And as we move on to into the rest of the story, I'll cut it short. I ended up being a hairstylist, like leaving that CFO role, becoming a hairstylist, then becoming an owner of my own bookkeeping CPA firm, then going back to a bigger CPA firm, right? Then being a director at a CPA firm, to now I'm back in internal audit at a Fortune 500 as the manager. When I tell you, my journey has been filled with ups and downs and in different areas of this industry. I've literally done it all. Well, maybe not at all, but I've done taxes. I've done financial planning and analysis. I've done bookkeeping. I've done CPA certification letters for mortgages. I've done ERTC, PPP, whatever. I've done it. I've touched it. Cohort analyses, like all the things, pricing analysis, like I've done it all. Okay. And what I'm here to tell you is that there is so much to be done in this industry. There is such a high need for accountants. Like literally, there is an accounting shortage of 30,000. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Forbes says, as of 2024, there are 348,000 less accountants in the industry. Yeah, 340,000 fewer accountants today compared to 5 years ago. In just 5 years, over 300,000 people have said, I'm done. Miss me with it. And there are many reasons for that. And if you tune in to this podcast, you will be the first to find out why. But there's so many more businesses entering the marketplace. Like there's so many people becoming entrepreneurs. They all need accountants, right? It's going to get to the point where they all will need CPAs at one point, because they're all going to need audited financials at some point. You know what I mean? Well, depending on the situation, a lot of companies feel better when they know you are working with a CPA if they want to invest in your business or not. You know what I mean? There's going to be so heavy need for more of us, and we just don't have enough people. And when you come into an industry where there's just not enough people, you set your price, right? I'm not saying it's easy to just set your price to whatever, because it's easy to just, feel sorry for people and just set your price at whatever they can afford. But when I tell you, I asked ChatGPT today, I said, which professions produce the most millionaires? And the list said, number 1, entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, doctors, lawyers, engineers. Who came in number 6? Accountants, CPAs, right? So and they came in well above entertainers and athletes. So it's more likely that you're going to be a millionaire as a CPA than as an athlete. Okay. So there's money to be made if that is your motivation. However, there's also long hours, there's also some annoying things. And like I've said, I've tried to leave accounting literally 3 times. We ain't even get into the meat of every single time I tried to leave accounting, because y'all see how I got swooped right back in. And I tried to leave again, I got swooped right back in. I tried to leave again, I got swooped right back in. Okay. But I'm here now, and I'm planted here because there is a need. And also, there is a fulfillment that comes when you find where you belong in this industry. And so that's why I feel like this podcast and this space is so much needed. I'm also starting this Patreon for anybody who wants to get into a community of other people who are thinking about becoming CPAs or bookkeepers or accountants or whatever the case may be, so that you can ask questions to each other, ask questions to me. I'll link that Patreon down below in the show notes, and in the description of this video. But essentially, I hope that y'all are able to rock with me throughout the next few episodes. Like the next one, I'm definitely going to be diving into those different career paths that you can go, and the pros and cons of each career path. And then from there, I kind of want to talk about, like, if you do want to take a certain career path, what that looks like, more in depth from each podcast episode perspective. But I want y'all to do me a favor and drop your comments or topics that you want me to cover in the comments. Please let me know what you want me to cover. If you are listening to this on Apple or Spotify, please come and shoot me a DM on Instagram and let me know what you guys want to hear. But I look forward to serving you guys, and I hope that y'all could deal with my personality, because I like I said, I can't code switch no more. I ain't got it in me. This is who I am, and I hope that that's okay with y'all. Okay? But otherwise, I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.